Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving deep into one of the most incredible processes in all of biology, that intricate dance of chromosomes we call meiosis. You know, it's the very reason you're not a carbon copy of your siblings. And trust me, by the end of this, you'll see exactly why.
All right, so let's kick things off by tackling a question that I'm pretty sure you thought about at some point.
I mean, really think about it. How can you and your siblings share the same mom and dad, but end up looking and being so different? The answer isn't just random chance. No, it's a beautifully complex biological process that is specifically designed to create genetic variety. And it all goes down deep inside our cells.
So the whole key to this puzzle, it's all in our chromosomes. You see, most of the cells in your body, your skin cells, your liver cells, they're what we call diploid. That means they have the full set of 46 chromosomes, right? 23 from mom, 23 from dad. But our sex cells, the gametes, they're different. They are haploid, meaning they only have 23. And it makes perfect sense when you think about it. If a sperm and an egg both had 46 chromosomes, the baby would end up with 92. And that just doesn't work. So how does the body solve this super important math problem?
Well, that brings us to the elegant solution our bodies have come up with, meiosis. This isn't about making identical copies. No, this whole process is about two things, reduction and variety.
And this is really the heart of it. Meiosis is what we call a reduction division. We start with one cell that has 46 chromosomes, a diploid cell, and we put it through 2 rounds of division. What comes out on the other side? 4 haploid cells, each with just 23 chromosomes. And here's the kicker. Every single one of them is genetically unique.
So, how does this all play out? Well, before anything really starts, the cell has to prep. That happens in a stage called interphase, where it makes a copy of all its DNA. Then, the real action begins, and it's basically a 2-act play, meiosis I and meiosis II. And if you've studied biology before, the stage names within each act, prophase, metaphase, anaphase, and telophase, are probably going to sound pretty familiar. So let's break down exactly what's happening.
All right, let's dive into the first big act, meiosis I. This is where the magic really happens. Think of it like a thorough shuffling of the generic deck.
It all kicks off with prophase 1. The chromosomes coil up really tightly so we can see them, and then something amazing happens. They find their homologous partners. These are the matched pairs you see here. One chromosome you got from your mother, and the matching one you got from your father. They both carry the instructions for the same traits, like eye color or hair type.
Now, right here in prophase 1, the most important event for genetic diversity happens. It's called crossing over. These homologous chromosomes get so cozy that they literally swap pieces of their DNA. It's incredible. This creates brand new combinations of genes on a single chromosome that have never, ever existed before. This isn't just a little shuffle, it's a major genetic remix, and it's the #1 reason for variation.
Next up is metaphase 1, and an easy way to remember this is M for middle. All those homologous pairs, they line up right down the center of the cell. But notice this, and this is a huge difference from other types of cell division. They're lining up in pairs, not in a single file line. That's super important. And after M for middle comes A for away, anaphase 1. These little things called spindle fibers act like cellular ropes. They grab on and pull the homologous pairs apart, dragging one whole chromosome from each pair to opposite ends of the cell. But look closely, the sister chromatids, those identical copies that make up each chromosome, are still stuck together.
Finally, we hit telophase I. The cell splits right down the middle, and we end up with 2 new cells. And here's the thing. Each of these cells is now haploid. It has half the number of chromosomes we started with. This is exactly why meiosis I gets the nickname the reductional division.
But hold on, we're not done yet. Those 2 new haploid cells, they immediately get ready for round 2, meiosis II. And this part is going to look a lot more like a standard cell division.
So now we're in meiosis II, and things start to feel a little more familiar. It's metaphase 2, so you know what that means, M for middle again. But this time, in each of those 2 cells, the chromosomes line up one by one in a single file line right down the center. See? Looks a lot more like what happens in mitosis.
And for the grand finale, anaphase 2. You guessed it, A for away one more time. But this time, the spindle fibers are pulling apart the sister chromatids. The moment they separate, each one is considered its own full chromosome, and they get pulled to opposite ends of the cell.
This table is basically the perfect cheat sheet for telling the two stages apart. In meiosis I, the big story is separating those homologous chromosomes and all that genetic shuffling from crossing over. Meiosis II is much simpler. It's just about separating the sister chromatids, kind of like mitosis. One reduces the chromosome number, the other just splits the copies. You need both to get to the final result.
So, okay, we've walked through all the steps. Prophase, metaphase, the whole shebang. But now let's zoom out. What's the big picture here? Why is this ridiculously intricate cellular dance so fundamental to, well, everything?
It really boils down to this. Meiosis is the engine of sexual reproduction. It's what creates the haploid sperm and egg cells in the first place. By cutting the chromosome number in half, it makes sure that every generation has the correct amount of DNA. And maybe most importantly, thanks to crossing over, it generates an absolutely massive amount of genetic variation. That variation is the raw material for evolution itself. It's what allows species to adapt and survive.
And here's the final count. From that one single starting cell, meiosis gives us 4 genetically unique haploid cells. Now, there is a little twist. In males, all 4 of these become working sperm cells. But in females, the resources are divided a bit differently. One cell gets almost everything and becomes the egg, while the other 3, which we call polar bodies, are much smaller and usually just fade away.
And this quote just nails it. It brings us full circle right back to our original question about siblings. Because every single sperm and every single egg is its own unique genetic package, the specific combination that creates you is also one of a kind. This is the beautiful, elegant reason why you share traits with your siblings, but you are never, ever identical.
But it makes you wonder, right? What happens when this incredibly detailed process makes a mistake? Meiosis is amazingly accurate, but it's not perfect. Sometimes chromosomes fail to separate correctly, a problem we call non-disjunction. This can lead to genetic conditions like Down syndrome. Understanding the tiny, fine-tuned mechanics of meiosis and figuring out what causes it to sometimes fail is a huge focus for scientists today. It's just a powerful reminder of how complex and delicate the dance of life truly is.